Vyond is a great tool to produce high-quality animated videos. Anyone can make a whole array of videos that can be used to promote their very own business. Did you know that it's entirely possible to create a business using just Vyond? The videos it produces are in high demand right now. You'll be able to tap into this incredible money-making stream that still currently has minimal competition. As the number of businesses coming online increases, so does the need for custom animated videos. My step-by-step video series will teach you everything that's needed to make high-quality animations. You'll have all the skills to propel your business into the stratosphere by harnessing the power of video. So let me help you accelerate your success today.
Hello and welcome. You are now looking at the website Vyond.com. And Vyond.com is formerly the site GoAnimate. Vyond is a cloud-based application for creating animated videos for various purposes. It allows creators to operate in several styles. Creators can operate in whiteboard videos, or they can operate in scene-based animation videos with talking characters. It allows for the integration of your own video as well as branding using images, audio, and any other media assets. In fact, some creators also integrate screen share videos into their Vyond.com videos. And finally, it allows creators latitude to create e-learning style videos. In some cases, Vyond.com is used by entire teams to create videos with a consistent corporate presence. So if at one time you owned a GoAnimate account, you will also be grandfathered into Vyond.com. This SaaS-based company and this product is fully supported by both a forum as well as the company's team. So in this course, we will look at the interface as well as the basics of creating a video using Vyond. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to look at the pricing for Vyond, formerly known as GoAnimate. And to do that, we're going to come to the front page of Vyond. We're then going to go to the pricing area. Now Vyond's plans does have a free trial where you can work through everything that you feel you need before you select a plan. Now they have what's called Vyond Essential and Vyond Premium. And you'll notice that the Premium is for individual business use. This means then that you will not need to have the Vyond logo on your videos if you choose the premium level, as well as being able to download in full HD at 1080 pixels. Now if you want to work on your videos in a team, you can work with Vyond Professional. Since you're likely to opt not to have the Vyond logo in all your videos, we are going to start the free trial by choosing the Vyond Premium plan. Now you'll need to go through the process of creating an account before you set up your payment. Now once you set up your login credentials, you then want to go and activate your account. Now it's important that you activate your account before you go through the payment process. Now this is not a free trial where you're going to put in your credit card information. If you put in your credit card information, you will actually be charged. So you want to go through this step to activate your account before you put in any payment information to set up your Vyond account. Once you click the link inside the email, your Vyond account will then be set up and ready for you to use. Welcome back. Now when you first start the video creation process, you're going to come into your dashboard and you want to click this button that says Make a Video. And when you get to this point, you're going to be able to choose the kind of video that you want to create. Contemporary video, one that is business friendly, and then one that uses the drawing application or whiteboard animation. And Vyond makes some suggestions about which one is best for the different purposes that you may have. For example, if we choose the business friendly style, that's going to open up the studio, and you'll then choose Get Started. And when you get to a scene or it opens up, you're going to notice that you have elements that you can add to each scene that you start to create. You can add characters to your scene. You can add props to your scene. You can add charts to your scene. You can add text to your scene. And then you can also add in audio or music to your scene. You can also upload content or images to your scene if you feel it is appropriate. For example, perhaps you may want to add in a logo to your video. If you want to add in a webcam video, you can add in the webcam by clicking this button that says Camera. You'll notice that on the timeline you have one scene or template available. You also have other templates available to you by clicking this button that says Add Template. And you'll see the templates here. Now these are the resources that Vyond gives you in order to create your video. And we will go in depth into each one of these elements to help you to create the video that you want. What you'll want to do is you'll want to start by giving your scene or your movie a title before you get started editing. Once you've given your video a name, you can then begin to add some of the resources that you want to customize the video in the way that you want it to appear. Welcome back. Now when Vyond opens up, you'll notice that it'll open up with a scene, and that scene will be on a timeline. If you want to adjust the appearance of that timeline, you can do that. You can slide up the timeline so that it appears larger as you put more tracks here, or if you want to shrink it, you can do that by pulling it back down. This will give you more spacing on your actual working element. What you'll notice about the scene is that it has a drop-down menu. You'll notice then that what we can do here is we can add on a template to this scene, or we can even add a blank scene here. Once we are working on top of the scene, you'll notice that there are elements that you can change. We can place our cursor on all of the elements that are customizable inside of the element. And so we have full control over our customization. You'll notice then that the music can come in on the timeline. So for example, if we decide that we want to add in some music, all we need to do is to add the music to our timeline. And you'll see it being added here on the timeline. And you'll notice then that this timeline says that the music is 3 minutes and 58 seconds long. That's obviously a lot longer than your clip. And so if we come to a certain point, we can right click on that point. We can click Split. You'll notice that the track will split. We can click on top of that track, and we can then delete the other part of the track from our timeline. If you want to stretch the timeline so you can work with it closer, you can click this plus button. You'll notice that the timing doesn't change, but the appearance of the timeline does, and you can see more of what you're doing. If you want to shrink the timeline, you can do that here in this area. What you can do with any of the work that you've done, you can always click this preview button. You'll get a chance to see your video as it will look once you've put it all together. And you can see how the preview works here. In order to come back out of the preview mode, you can then click Exit. Welcome back. Now what you'll notice is that the scene on the timeline has a certain length of time. We can lengthen that time if we want, or we can shorten that time. Now what we can do to vary what we're going to see next is we can go to this button. It says Add in a template. And we have a number of choices here of templates that we can add in to the timeline. And one thing that you can do in order to search for the kind of template that you want is you can write in to the search bar. And you'll notice when we write the search word in, we can click this button, and then we'll have certain templates to come available to us. We can either go to the template, we can click on it, and the template will be added automatically to our timeline. If for some reason we don't like the template, we can right click it, we can then cut it from the timeline. What we can also do from the drop down menu, we can add the template from here. We can also continue what we say as the last scene, and basically what this does is this adds in the same template to that part of the timeline. All we're going to do here is we can cut that out, go back here, we can add in a blank scene. You'll notice all we really have here is a blank background. Of course, once you have the background, you can change that background. You can change the base color. Or what you can do is you can add in a new image or template. You can also add in a video content to the background according to anything that you had in your quick access. If we want to remove the background, we can then click remove. And then we can remove the scene from the timeline. So if we find a scene that we like and that we want to add to our content, we can then add it in. It will then be available for us to start editing the content. Of course, as we're adding in templates, we can also then click Save to make sure that we keep track of everything that we are doing. Once we do that, what we can do is we can then preview the video using our preview button. Of course, once we have everything on the timeline the way we want, and once we've saved our work, we can then click the preview button. We can then see what our content is going to look like as we are doing it with the scenes that we have added. Now, in order to add or take characters out of your scene, you're going to use your character library. So for example, if we click on top of any of the characters, this is going to be a certain character whom we can have in, or we can actually switch this character out. So for example, we can take this character out by clicking the delete button. You'll notice that character is no longer there. What we would do then is we can then add in a character from our character library. And these character libraries are going to be categorized in different sections. So we can add in another office person, and we can have that office person look the way we want them to look based on the viewers of our video. You'll see that person here. Now, if you want to have that person doing different things, you're going to need to change the properties of that character, which we will be studying in another video. We can size up the character by clicking on the handles. And we can drag and drop the character any place where we want them to be. Now we can use swap mode to add in another character. So for example, if we click on top of the character as we have them, what we can do is we can click this area, we can click swap, then we can swap in someone for that individual. They're then going to be in the same position. And we can do that for any of the characters that we have here. So for example, if we were to click on this character, we were to put them in swap mode, we can swap them out for another individual. And you'll see that character come in. They'll be different, but they'll be in the same position as the character was. So you can use your character library to add in individuals to a particular scene or template. You can also swap them in so that they're going to be in the same position as the individuals inside of the template. Now you'll notice here that you have characters from the three kinds of sections that you have in Vyond: business friendly, whiteboard animation, as well as contemporary characters. And even though we have an animated figure here, you notice that there's no drawing action. All of those things are going to be controlled by the properties when we start to work with them. Have full control over all of the characters inside of your scenes. So for example, if we were to place our cursor on top of the character, what you'll notice is that you have a menu on this right hand side, and we can dictate what our character does and how he interacts inside of the scene. So for example, if we were to click this button that says action, what we can do is we can determine how the customer moves and interacts inside of the video. We can have them do certain functions, and you'll see them here in this all actions area. So for example, if we were to click here sports, we can choose a sports action for our character. And in this case, you'll see that this is a referee action. We can click this play button so that we can see how the action is going to happen. We can then click apply. Once we've applied it, we can then click save. And we can preview how that action is going to look inside of our video if we click this preview button. So if we place our cursor back on top of the character, we can choose another action if we don't like that one. For example, if we hide the other actions, we can choose an action we think is most appropriate, and then we can add it to our scene. And then we can click Save, and we can preview the action by clicking the preview button. And we can exit out of preview mode. If we want to change the expression on our character's face, all we'll need to do is to click this expression button, and we can then click a particular expression. We can choose that expression based on the expressions that we have available to us. And once we've chosen an expression, we can then click this arrow. We can click the expression button and the expression goes away. And what we're going to do now is we're going to stop the video here, and we're going to pick it up from character dialogue. Welcome back. Now we can add in character dialogue so that the character will move its mouth in the video along with our dialogue. So for example, we're going to click on top of our character, and we're going to click on this mic. And what you'll see here is that we can add dialogue or spoken word content. To do that, we're going to click Add Dialogue. We're then going to click on Text to Speech. We're then going to write in our text to speech. Once we have our expression in, we're then going to click Generate. That's going to give us an audio file, and you'll see that audio file being formed, and you'll see that audio file fill in here in this area. What we're going to do is we're going to lengthen our scene so that it matches the length of our audio. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click the Save button. You're going to see that our character is now going to talk along with this audio. And what we're going to do now is we're going to click the Preview button so that we can see and hear the video.
Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
So any place where we add this dialogue or we add the audio, we can place it in so that our character can interact as if they were actually doing the talking. And what you'll notice here is that this audio is on an audio track here on our timeline. And you'll see it highlighted here. Now, if what you wanted to do was you wanted to add in an audio recording instead, what you can do is you can change this by clicking on top of the character and then going back to your audio dialogue. You can remove this dialogue, and you can add in new dialogue, and you can upload the audio that you want to be there. What you'll do is you'll then click Save, and then what we'll need to do is to click the Preview button. Hello and welcome. You are now looking at Meetup, and so once you've completed, you'll then click Exit. What you can also do is you can remove this audio, and then you can add in dialogue again, but this time you can add in a mic recording. In this case, you're going to click Mic Recording, and then you're going to click on the mic, and then you're going to record. Once you have your mic recording, you can play it. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. Once you have it, you can then click Save. And then your audio will then be part of your video. You can then preview your content. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. So you can add in audio in order for your character to speak. Now you can also determine how your character moves inside of your scene. You can have them enter in one part of the scene in a certain way. You can give them a motion path, and then you can give them an exit activity. So for example, if we were to click on top of our character, and we were to click on this button that says Enter Effect, we're going to click Remove to remove any other enter effects that we have, We're going to start from scratch. What we're going to do is we're going to click None, which will bring us to the actual effect. And what we can do is we can determine how we want the character to enter. And we can look at that effect using the preview. We can then click Apply. What we can do is we can then click Save. What we're going to do for the sake of this video is we're going to remove the audio. And we're now just going to watch the effect that we just created inside of the video, which was the enter effect. And what we're going to do is we're going to click the preview button. And what you're going to see is that our character is going to enter in a certain manner. You'll see that that character is then dropped in. We're now going to exit. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put our cursor back on our character. What you're going to notice is that not only do we have entry activity, we can also determine a motion path. So we can click Add Motion Path. And what we're going to do is we're going to determine where our character goes inside of the screen. And so in this case, we're going to move that character up. We're going to shrink them down. So basically what we've done is we've moved the character to the right and we've reduced the character's size. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save our motion path. What you're now going to see is the entry activity, and then you're going to see the motion path. We're going to click Preview. And so you can see our character move. We're then going to click the Exit Preview mode. Now what we're going to do is we're going to determine the exit path for our character. And we can do that by clicking on top of our character. We can then click the exit effect. What we can then do is we're going to click this None link. And then we're going to determine our character's exit. We're going to click Slide. We're going to click this one. And then we're going to click Save. What we're going to do now is we're going to preview the character. You'll notice then that they move to the right and then they slide out according to our directions. So you have full control over your character based on how you want them to interact in the scene. Vyond also has a prop library, and you'll see it inside of your dashboard. What you're going to do is you're going to go to this link that says props, and you'll notice here that you have props, and you also have screens and frames. So what we're going to do first is we're going to click on props. There are about 3,000 of them as of the recording of this video. Now if you decide that you want to do a whiteboard animation video, you're going to have different props, different screens and frames. If you decide to do a contemporary video, you're going to have different props and different screens and frames. We're going to choose this props area. And what you're going to see is you're going to see things that you can add to your video. Now because you have 3,000, it would not be wise to try to scroll through them all. But what you can do is you can search for them by writing in your keyword. And once you write in your keyword, you'll be able to see your props here that you can click on in order to add to your canvas. Now if you want to see the results from the other two kinds of videos, if you just click on Whiteboard Animation, you're going to see that there are going to be different props there. You're also going to see them in a different way if you go to Contemporary. Now of course there are two ways to add them. You can just click right on top of the image, or if you want to see it up close, what you can do is you can click the preview. You're going to see it here, and then you can just click the Add button. That will then bring your image into the canvas. You can then move that item any place into the canvas that you want it to be. You can size it up, or you can size it back down. Now once you click on top of the image, you're going to see that there's going to be a menu here, and you can see that menu up on the right hand side. One thing you can do here is when you place your cursor on top of the image, you can click the swap link, and then you can determine what you want to swap it with. If you just click on an image, you'll see the swap that will happen. Now in the next video, we're going to take a look at the prop properties. Welcome back. Now, whenever you add a prop to your canvas, those props have properties. You'll see those properties on the upper right-hand side. Now, when we place our cursor on top of the prop, what we can do is we can determine the enter effect. And we can click this link. We can then click this arrow. We'll then be able to add in a specific effect that we want to have happen when the prop enters the screen. We're going to click slide, and we're going to click slide up. What we're going to do then is we're then going to click save. What we can do then is we can then preview our slide. And you'll notice then that our prop then comes up. Once we've exited the preview mode, what we're going to do is we're going to click on top of the prop. We're then going to click on the motion path. And we're going to click add motion path. And basically what we're now going to do is we're going to determine where we want our prop to go during the course of our video. In this case, we can say that we want it to move all the way across the screen, and we want it to shrink in size. Once we do that, all we'll need to do is then click save. We can then preview our prop, and you'll see it doing as we set it for it. What we're now going to do is we're going to click exit the preview mode, and we're going to put our cursor on top of the image. And what we're then going to do is we're going to click on the exit effect. What we're now going to do is we're going to determine how we want the image to exit. Now in this case, what we're going to do is we're just going to click one of the exit effects. We'll click one specifically. And now what we're going to do is we're then going to click save. What we're then going to do is click preview. You'll notice then that our image then disappears. Welcome back. Now there's also a chart library for you to add into your canvas. What you're going to do is go to this link, and then you're going to see a number of charts available that you can open into your canvas. You're going to choose one of those charts, and then you're going to see the information inside of your canvas. And like the other elements, you can move it any place on the page that you want. You can size it up or size it back down. What you can also do is you can also swap it out. So for example, if you want to click this swap button, all you need to do to find the chart that you want is to click inside of the one. Then you'll see the chart change. And like all of the other elements, you'll need to exit out of the swap mode and then place your cursor on top of the element in order to see the properties on the upper right-hand side. Now the most important element is going to be the data, obviously. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on Chart Data. And then you're going to write in the information as you want it to be seen. And you can see that here. We can use a different chart. Exit the swap mode, click on top of the element, then go back to the chart data, and you'll see here that we have a different range that we can place in. We can customize the data, and you'll see your content, and you'll be able to change the content inside of the chart by changing the chart data. Once you've done that, you can then change the chart settings. So what you can do is you can determine whether or not you want the value and the label to be shown, as well as the percentage. So you have some control over how you want the chart to appear. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop the video right here, and we're going to pick it up in the chart properties explanation. You can change the text color in your chart. So for example, if we click on top of our chart and we go to this link for the text color, we can then change the text to some of the colors that we already have. So for example, we can change the text to this color, which is one of the colors in our chart, or any of the other colors. Once we've done that, we'll then want to click Save. And then we'll want to close out our text color menu. You'll then have other properties available to you. Just as with the character library, as well as the prop library, you can also create an entry effect, as well as a motion path, as well as an exit effect. So for the motion path, we're going to click on top of the motion path link. We're then going to click on top of the entry effect. We'll then click Save, and then we'll click Preview. And you'll see our chart operating according to the entry effect. We'll then exit that entry effect. We're then going to click on top of our chart again, and this time we're going to work with our motion path. We're going to click on Add a Motion Path, and basically what we're now going to do is we're then going to place our chart where we want it to be. And then we're going to write the duration. So in this case, we're going to work out the duration to be 4 seconds. Now in this case, Vyond warns us we're going to need to lengthen our scene. And what we're going to do now is we're then going to click Save. We're now going to click Preview. And you'll see that our chart does what we want it to do. We're going to exit our preview. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the exit effect. We're just going to click this exit effect button. We're then going to click this arrow. We're then going to determine how we want our chart to exit. We'll then choose the one we want. We'll click Save. And then what we're going to do is we're then going to click our preview button. And you'll see our chart will do what we want it to do. Now Vyond also has a text library, and you can use that text library by clicking on this link. You'll then have a drop-down menu. You'll have text for the business-friendly template, the Whiteboard Animation template, as well as the contemporary template. You can use any of these on the canvas the way that you want. And just as you did before in the other elements, you'll click the preview. Once you see the preview, what you can do is you can then click the Add button. That'll then add the text to your canvas. What you can do then is you can place your cursor inside of the text, and then you can edit the text to write in what you want it to be. You can reshape the text once you have it written in, and so all you'll need to do is you'll need to use your handles, and then you can move that text wherever you want it to be. What you can also do is you can change the color of that text, and all you'll need to do is to highlight the text inside of your text box. You're then going to go to your color area. In this case, you only have 2 colors that you can work with, so you could change this to white, but the only way that would make sense is if you had a different background. But the color can be changed. You can add in multiple layers of text. For example, you can add in a title. You can change the title with a double click. And basically you can move these elements where you want them to be. Once you have your text in place, you can then click Save. You can then preview your scene, and you'll see it play as it creates an action. Now that you've seen how to add text to your canvas, you'll now want to look at the motion effects in the text properties. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to work with your text properties. And to do that, we're going to place our cursor on top of our text box. And when we see that text box, you're going to see in this right-hand corner, just as you did with the character properties, as well as the prop and chart properties, you have motion effects. And so basically what we can do is we can change how the text enters the canvas. And so what we can do here is we can click this arrow. We can choose some kind of animation entrance effect. We can click it, And then we can then save. What we would do then is we can then preview our canvas. And you can see that our text comes in this manner. What we're going to do now is we're then going to click the exit button. We're going to click on top of our text, and then we're going to click the motion path. And then we're going to click add motion path. And basically, just as we did with the other elements, we can create a motion path for our text. So in this case, we can slide our text to the right, and we can make it smaller. And basically, we can create an effect with our text box. So all we'll need to do then is click Save. Once it's saved, we can then preview the text. And you'll see that we just created this effect. We can then click Exit. And we can then place our cursor on top of the text again. We can then click an Exit Effect. What we're then going to do is we're going to create that exit effect, and in this case we're going to click the wipe command, and then we're going to wipe to the right, and basically we're then going to save. Then once we have all of our text the way we want it, we can then preview our text, and you'll see that the text then wipes to the right and goes off the screen. Welcome back. Now, some elements that you want to be specifically aware of are going to be your scene transitions. And when you're moving between templates and scenes, what you can do is you can use an element in your toolbar that is a scene transition. Now, in order to show you the scene transition, we're going to shorten up one of the scenes. And basically, when we place our cursor on top of the scene, you're going to notice that there's going to be a scene transition element enabled. What that will do is that will set the scene transition at the very beginning of that frame. So for example, if we were to click the scene transition, and in this case we're going to remove the existing scene transition, we're going to go back inside the scene transition, and we're going to use a zoom scene transition, and then that's going to be for the first scene, and you're going to notice that at the very beginning of the scene. We're going to do the same scene transition here for the second scene. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our cursor on top of that scene. We're then going to click on Scene Transition. We're going to click on this scene transition again, and then we're going to use the same transition. And basically, what we're doing is we are using these elements in order to give variety between the scenes. So what we're going to do right now is we're then going to click the preview scene. And so now you've seen both scenes and how they transition from one to the other at the very beginning of the scene when you use the scene transition element. Now you're going to find that when you are going to do a whiteboard animation that some of the orientation is going to be slightly different. For example, when we place a character onto our canvas, what we're going to choose is we're going to choose Whiteboard Animation. And then we're going to choose a different set of characters. We may choose a casual character, and then we may place that character inside of our canvas. And you'll notice that character here. What we're then going to do, of course, is we are then going to do a different kind of action. So for example, we are going to then create an effect. We're going to look at the whiteboard effect, and this time we're going to look at whiteboard animation. And what we're going to do is we're going to either use a real hand, a pen only, writing only, or some kind of illustration. In this case, we're going to choose to do an illustration. What we're going to do now is we're then going to click Save. And we're now going to preview our video using the whiteboard animation. And you'll notice then that we have a drawing. The same thing is going to be true if we choose to use a prop. And for example, if we choose to use a specific prop, and then we would create an enter effect, we would then click the enter effect, what we then do is a whiteboard animation for this effect. We can then choose to use a pen for this one. We can then click Save, and what we would then do is we would then click the Preview button. And you'll see that they're both done with a pen. Now, one thing you'll want to pay attention to will be the timing. So when we place this image on the canvas, what we can do is we're going to go to the Enter effect. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a delay. In this case, we're going to start with a 1-second delay. And then we're going to make the drawing last about 5 seconds. And so you'll see now that we have a total of 6 seconds. And basically what this is going to do is that's going to change the nature of the drawing. We're going to click Save. And what we're going to do then is we're then going to click Preview. And you're then going to notice then that the drawing starts after a 1-second delay, and it's going to take longer in order to draw. Now, it's possible for us to add in a prop or some other kind of content. In this case, we can add in a prop. We're going to add in a computer again. We're going to place it on the right hand side. And basically what we want to do is we want to have this drawn, but we don't want it to start until after this drawing has completed. And so what we're going to do then is we're then going to then start with our Enter effect. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create a whiteboard animation Enter effect. We're going to use the pen. And once we do that, then we're going to be able to set the delay. So in this case, we're going to set the delay at 6 1/2 seconds. And then we're going to then set our duration at 5 seconds. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to lengthen out our drawing. You'll see the warning there. What we're going to do is we're going to lengthen this out. Then the warning goes away. So we're going to click Save. And what you're going to see now is you're going to see the drawings happen in sequence. We're going to click the Preview button. The first one's going to delay for a second, and then it's going to start. And the second drawing is now not going to start until it's completed because we use the delay feature. And so you want to use these considerations when you are doing whiteboard animated videos. You can also use whiteboard animation with both charts and text. And we can do that by, first we're going to take out the previous images that we had. And we're going to go to our Charts menu. And we're going to put in a chart. And we're going to use this one for example. And so in order to draw this as an animation, we're going to go to our Enter effect. And to do that, we're going to go to our pie chart animation. We're then going to go to the whiteboard animation. And we're going to choose to make this a real hand animation. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our time and draw it out. So we're going to change the duration to 5 seconds. We're going to start the delay at 1 second. And basically then we're going to save this animation, and we're then going to click Preview. And you're going to see that the drawing will then be done by a real hand. We can do the same thing with text. We can exit out of this image. We're then going to take out this image. We're going to go to our text. We're then going to write in some text. We're going to slide it here to the middle, and we're going to rewrite this content. And this time we're going to change the text settings. We're going to change the font. We're going to make the font larger. And we're going to bring it onto the canvas. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on our Enter effect. We're then going to go and find our animation. We're going to go into Whiteboard Animation. We're then going to use the pen. We're going to make the duration about 7 seconds. We're then going to click Save. And what we're then going to do is we're then going to preview our text. And you'll see that our pen will write out our text. And so basically when you're doing animation, you want to make sure that you understand that the timing controls how long it will take for the hand or the pen to create your content, and you typically want to give the engine more than a few seconds so that you'll be able to actually see the effect of the animation. Now in some cases you will see that there will be a camera effect that you can add in. And to illustrate this, what we're going to do is we're going to add in a particular scene. And we're going to take out the scene before that one so that we can look at this particular scene. And what you'll notice is that we have a character, we have a prop, and let's say that during some point in the video what you want to do is you want to zoom in on the prop. And so if you wanted to do that, what you do is you'd click on this camera button. You'd click Add Camera. What you'll notice is that you have a camera that's now going to encompass the entire screen. What you then do is to click Add Camera Movement. And basically you'll see a second window. And what we're going to do is we're going to resize this window. And we're going to move that window to focus on the area that we want. So what you see now is that you have a zoom in feature based on the bowl, and it's going to come from this point in the image and it's going to zoom in here. So again, now one thing you'll want to do here is you're going to want to click on that camera again, and you're going to want to be aware of the seconds and the delay here. Now what we can do is we can custom make the movement. So for example, we can custom make it for the entire scene. If that's the case, what we can do then is we can control then when the delay starts and then how long it's going to take. So again, we can use it for the whole scene, and basically the camera movement is going to last for the entire scene or however long the scene is going to be on your timeline. If you want to customize the timing, you're going to click Custom, and then you're going to be able to start a delay and then a duration of your own. You can do it either way, and a lot will depend on how long your scene is going to be. So what we're going to do right now is going to click Save, and then we're going to click Preview so that you can understand how the camera works. And so you'll see the zoom effect now on the bowl. And so basically you can zoom in on any effect that you want inside of your canvas. We're going to exit out of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete out this camera. And we're going to start again. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with another template. We're going to exit out of the template that we had. We're going to cut it out. We're going to come back to this template. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to then click our camera. We're going to add the camera. And then the camera is going to basically be taking a picture of the entire screen. We're going to add in the movement. And we're going to assume now that we want to focus in on this particular aspect of our screen. So we're going to size down our camera. And then we're going to move it. We're going to take the camera and we're going to move it over to this area, so that all it's going to focus on is this one aspect of the scene. We're going to customize the movement. So in this case, we're going to start after a delay of 1 second, and we're going to have this occur over 2 seconds. So it's going to be faster. So we're going to save this now. We're then going to click Preview. And so what you're going to see here is that the camera then focuses on one aspect of the scene, and it does it according to the timing that we have set. Now once you've added all of your scenes, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do one final preview. So you're going to go to your preview button, and you can either preview from different points inside of video, or you can preview from the beginning. And in most cases you're going to click preview from start, and then you're going to want to watch your video all the way through so that you can verify that it is doing what you want it to do. Once you do that, you can then click Save. What you're then going to want to do is output the video. And you're going to go to this area. And you're going to have download choices. Now, depending on what level that you have, you'll be able to download the video in HD at a certain number of pixels. You can also download an animated GIF. So what we're going to do first is we're going to download the video in HD. Once we do that, we can then view our video to make sure it looks the way we want in the MP4 format. We can also download that video as an animated GIF. So in this case, we're going to download one. We're going to download the GIF at 640 by 360 pixels. There will be some processing time for Vyond. Once you do that, then your GIF will be ready to be downloaded. And you'll then be able to view the GIF from your hard drive. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.